Hi guys, my name is Roger, and I'm building a mid-engine supercar in the basement of my home. Let's take a look at what I've been working on this week. So before we get started on the progress that I've made on the car this week, I wanted to take a couple of minutes here and explain how I wound up in the emergency room. So a week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago, Monday was my birthday. And Sunday night, I guess I received an early birthday present. And I had finished working on the car, was sitting on the couch, trying to relax, watch a little TV, and started having some back pains. And was getting really uncomfortable after a few minutes, and got up, started walking around, pacing the floor, see if it would go away. And kind of noticed it was getting worse, and it wasn't really in my back, it was more deeper inside somewhere. So I was pacing the floor, made my way to the bathroom, started feeling nauseous, thought I was going to vomit a few times, and actually wound up I did once, and the pain was getting worse. So Crystal was telling me I need to go to the doctor, so she finally convinced me to go to the ER and see exactly what was going on. But long story short, after a couple of tests, it wound up being a kidney stone. And I've had kidney stones before that I had passed, but I had never experienced the pain like this before. If I had, I guess I would have realized what it was. I just didn't know what was wrong. I just knew something was wrong. But the thumbnail you see on the picture is actually me in the emergency room sitting there in pain. They gave me a couple of doses of morphine, which didn't do anything for the pain. And after they realized it was for sure a kidney stone, after they took a urine sample and did an MRI, they said they had some kind of pain medicine. They didn't say exactly what it was. It worked better for kidney stones. They gave me that, and within 30 minutes I felt normal. I left the emergency room that night after all of the pharmacies had closed, so I didn't get a prescription for any kind of pain medicine. Came home, slept all night fine, wake up the next morning and felt great, and never even bothered to get the prescription filled. I've felt good ever since. I'm assuming I passed the stone or whatever. I'm not quite sure. I didn't realize when it came out, but seems to be gone. But after a good night's sleep, I was back. I felt 100%, and I guess that is my kidney stone story and how I wound up in the ER. And let's get started on the video and see what kind of progress I've made this week.
Well, to start with this week, I'm going to be making the mold for this top center console area. And I have a printout here I made in SolidWorks showing the dimensions that I have it modeled now in SolidWorks. And I'm just going to take a tape measure and verify these dimensions, width dimensions, are correct in 3 different places. And then once those dimensions are verified, or I have the new correct dimensions, we'll start making this mold. And this should be a pretty simple mold to make, and hopefully a part also. It looks fairly simple. So let me get some measurements here and we will start building a mold real quick. I didn't film making the mold or making the part for this top of the center console, but I did think to snap a picture of it when I was doing the vacuum infusion. You can see here that the vacuum infusion process had just finished, and this is right before shutting the doors on the oven. But you can see here that it was a very simple part and very simple mold. But I wanted to show you what this part looked like in the oven here before I baked it and removed it from the mold. Well, here is the console. All of the pieces are assembled. I drilled holes, several holes, put Colecos in them to hold everything in place. This will be alignment holes for when I actually use adhesive and put all of this together. The adhesive is ordered, and I actually think it'll be here tomorrow. I can start assembling this, what I call a tub, which is the firewall, the console, the floors, and the pieces back here in the back. All of this will be glued together in one assembly. And then I need to test fit and make sure it can be inserted and removed from the car easily. The firewall is the only thing that's going to be an issue. It will hit here and on the other side over there where the support is for the steering column. My plans are to remove the steering column, kind of lift it up in the back, tilt it up, which will lower the front, and hopefully it'll come in and clear this bar across here, and I can scoot it completely out as one assembly, and then back in just to reverse, kind of rear end high, scoot it under this bar, and then rotate it down and drop it in. And that's my plan if everything goes to plan. You can see here, let me get a little closer, I can show you how this works. All of this up here where it's flat will be hidden. This angle here will continue on to the next piece where the radio and the AC controls are, so that'll blend into an area here that angles forward a couple of degrees. And you can see here, this bin area is wedged in between the two sides. It's nice and tight. It will bolt down through the bottom of the bin into the top deck here. And then there will be an aluminum insert that goes here. I've been modeling that. I'm still not happy with it, but I will show you what that looks like here in just a minute. Once I get on the computer, I'll show you this part and the two parts that I've modified here for the speaker area to blend into the back of this console. But this is what this is looking like. And everything fit and aligned and looks good. I'm happy with it. I just need to get all of this assembly glued together and make sure I can insert it and remove it as one big assembly. I'll work on this slowly and glue just a few pieces at a section at a time, and then just continue on until I have one big glued assembly. But that's what this is looking like, and I think the next thing we will do after this assembly is all glued together and I'm sure I can insert it and remove it, I'll go ahead and start cutting the pieces for the mold on the CNC for the next piece here that we're going to be making. I believe I'll do the bottom piece first that interacts with the center console. It bolts in here and straddles the existing console and then bolts to these two back walls, and then that'll just leave the top area for the subwoofer. I actually have the subwoofer setting over here. I was testing for fit. It's a 6-inch JL audio sub, small as the cockpit or cabin area of the car is. That 6-inch sub should be plenty, but it goes up between the seats, right below the window and above the top of the carbon fiber pieces where they meet the rear firewall. But that's what this is looking like. Let me go show you the parts on the computer. Okay, this is my SolidWorks model. You've seen this before. This is where I'm modeling the interior components to make sure that they fit correctly. And from a side view here, let's zoom in. You can see the console. This is a line here where the air conditioner and the radio will line up with the tangency of this curve here on the console, and you can see how that will align and look nice together there. Rotate this around here. You can see that I have changed the speaker area here, this rear center console. It is now two pieces. You can see the bottom half here looks about like it did before, and then the top half has changed shape considerably. It has draft and it bolts together now to make two pieces, so it's easier for me to make. Zoom here on this center console. You can see this is the aluminum insert that I've been talking about. I've been working on the shape of this. I'm still not happy, but I'm getting closer. It has the start-stop button in the front and the parking brake switch back near the rear. You can see how that kind of integrated into the part. There's a cutout here where I may keep to see the gear shift mechanism, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep or lose that just yet. We'll open this part so you can see it a little bit closer. This is what the part looks like, and I'm still, until I finish it, I'm not sure how I'm going to manufacture it, but it'll either be 3D printed in metal or 3D printed in plastic and have some kind of a metallized coating on it. And then you can see the parking brake switch and the start-stop button here a little more clearly.
Well, I guess that's going to be about it for this week's video. I'm still working as many hours on the car as I previously was, but it seems like my progress has slowed down some. There's just so many details that I need to get to looking exactly right on this console because they're going to be visible once the car is finished. But hopefully I'll spend a few more hours
on the final details of this console this weekend and start gluing some pieces together. My adhesive came in today. The tube was much smaller than I was expecting. Not quite sure if I have ordered enough to glue everything together or not, but I will see how far the glue goes, and then I'll know how much more I need to order. But once we get this console glued together and the final details finished, I should move on to making molds for these back two speaker area parts back here, so we can get those on the CNC table and all of the parts cut, and we can start manufacturing those. And once those two parts are finished, then we can move on to the body of the car. So we'll be making the external body components, which will be exciting. But I guess that's going to be it for this week's video, and I'll see you guys again in 2 weeks.